From the Campione Law Studios in the heart of Duval County, Florida, this is the unofficial Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Your host, Seth Studer. Yeah. So good. So crispy. Woo! Whoa! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 9th episode of the unofficial Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. My name is Seth Studer. Ladies and gentlemen, 9th episode, 9 and 4. 9 and 4 with a 94% chance of the Jacksonville Jaguars going to the playoffs. I told y'all. And oh boy, have we gotten there in style. It's all starting to come together, isn't it? After that huge divisional stomping of the Indianapolis Colts, man, we took them to the glue factory. Man, poor Daniel Jones self an Achilles injury there in the first quarter, but man, it didn't matter if Daniel Jones, Smanuel Jones, Riley Leonard, Anthony Richardson, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. Didn't matter who played, man, because the Jaguars finally were firing on all cylinders. And man, that feels so good because that's been this team. It's been leaving meat on the bone. It's been the defense is stepping up. What's the offense going to do? It's the offense is looking great. Can the defense hold up? It's been one thing after another. And it's never been the full symphony, right? It hasn't been the strings and the brass and the percussion and the entire orchestra playing as one. Offense, defense, special teams, running game, passing game, you name it, coaching. Woo! Damn, it feel good. 36-19 over the Colts at home. Who could have saw that coming after Indianapolis has not won in Jacksonville since 2014? But we did it. And since the last time I saw y'all, we also had another divisional win. 25-3, stomping against the Tennessee Titans, where it just wasn't even a match. Man, that was the first Jaguars game in a long time where I just felt absolutely fine heading into the fourth quarter. And now we got 2 weeks back-to-back on that. And credit these Jaguars, man. Because, and before we go any further, I'd like to, shout out Campione Law, sponsoring this podcast here. Bad things happen to good people all the time. Motor vehicle accident, something. If you're hurt and you didn't ask for it, give us a call. We'd be happy to help you out. So what do I, like Ricky Bobby, what do I do with my hands? Right? We're 9 and 4 after being 4 and 13 last year. I predicted 11 and 6. Fred Taylor came on and said 12 and 5. I thought that was crazy. But man, 11 and 6 is looking likely. 12 and 5 is looking like a possibility. Is 13 and 4 in the cards? Is a 1 seed for the AFC in the cards? We'll find out because this team is playing at an exceptional level at the right time as we enter winter, right? So we're just going to go over a couple things, and I'm going to do this one solo. No guests, no frills. We're just going to make it nice, clean, and easy. And let's kind of talk about how we got here and what to look forward to as we round out this season and hopefully make some noise in the playoffs, right? So, but first, big shout out. And, it's funny because when we started playing well, That was after James Gladstone, Zaddy Gladstones, trading a 4th and a 6th round pick to get Las Vegas receiver Jacoby Myers. And damn, has he been a welcome and needed addition to this Jaguars offense to just give it that extra something that we didn't have, because Brian Thomas Jr. was looking unsure, in any routes over the middle. Parker Washington, as good as he is, we needed another body to open things up on the middle, to give Trevor some confidence. And since we traded for Jacoby, man, we've rattled off 4 straight, right? Man. He has been so good. I think he's already caught 3 touchdowns this year. And you can just tell. And then the other thing that coincided with this, winning streak has been, weirdly enough, Liam Cohen giving Trevor Lawrence the arm bracelet, right? And he'd always worn that arm bracelet, going back and things to his Clemson days. And since giving him that binky, he's been balling out. And actually, let's talk about Trevor Lawrence a little bit, right? Because I'm reading the reactions today, and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, that's Trevor's best game," and I think it might be at least the only one that comes to recollection where I felt that level of talent and execution was that game where he had a comeback against the Ravens in that 2022 playoff run, leading up to the 2022 playoffs, man. But you just watch that arm talent today, hitting BTJ on that go route, right? Those 2 passes to Tim Patrick, and of course the one that everyone keeps going back to was late. It's in the 4th quarter. Game's already in hand. It's raining. Man, they do Colts do an overload blitz there on the weak side, and boo! It was like how they set it up at these pro days, right? Where they just go, okay, and Trevor evades the free rusher while it's raining. Gracefully starts booting to the left, and while moving left, throws a dot to Tim Patrick. Oh, once I saw that, I'm just like, oh boy, he back. And the thing about Trevor Lawrence is, man, he gets hot. And when he gets hot, he's like a supernova, man. And I'm starting to see that come together because his best game this season before the Indianapolis game was the Tennessee game. So he's getting hot at the right time. And let's think about this from Trevor's perspective, right? He's coached by Dabo Swinney in college at Clemson. Very, very simple offense. Swinney's actually been criticized for building up his players to be NFL ready kind of since Trevor was drafted. Comes into Urban Meyer. I mean, what do you want me to say? Trevor is like leading the team, while his coach is not flying home on week 4 and getting oil checks from some trollop at a bar in Columbus, right? What kind of crappy situation throw a rookie in, right? And he gets Doug Peterson. Well, Doug Peterson's offense as well. It's an RPO system. It's not the most complex scheme in the world, right? And Doug calls the plays for a year. Trevor does good. He gets hot. We were talking about that Ravens game. That was during that stretch. And then he gives it to the lesser Taylor brother, Press Taylor, to run the offense. And, well, you knew and saw where that was headed. You saw Trevor's confidence dip. So, Seth, okay, cool. What about this year? What about 2025? What have you seen? I've seen a coach in Liam Cohen bring in a Shanahan-based West Coast offense that is not easy and very difficult. And there's some growing pains with that. There's some learning pains. And Trevor's had to adapt baptism by fire here throughout the 2025 season, right? And he's shown flashes, but he has not. And we're just going, when's it going to click? When's it going to click? Well, ladies and gentlemen, a hard system takes a little bit of time. to get used to, right? And Trevor finally is starting to get it. Ever since Liam Cohen told him to let it rip. And confidence has so much to do with that. So earlier this year, we've been talking about Brian Thomas Jr.'s drops, Parker Washington's drops, De'Ami Brown's drops, right? And as a quarterback who has never been in this system before, how tough is it to operate when your receivers are dropping every, eighth pass? Just an insane drop rate. And so, credit to the front office getting in Jakobi Meyers. Even when Travis Hunter went down. We're doing this without Travis Hunter, by the way, who could be our lockdown cornerback 1 and our wide receiver 2. We're doing this without him. We're playing our best ball without him, right? And so just having Jakobi Meyers catch some passes, having Britton Strange back, catching some passes. What did we see Brian Thomas do? Man, running on those outside routes, catching 3 deepies, deep balls, explosive plays. Finally, it's all starting to come together. And it feels good because the running attack has still been as good, right? Travis Etienne gutting out tough yards. The offensive line allowing no sacks in the last 2 games. This offensive line has been a little schizophrenic at times, but Walker Little has been out. Cole Van Lanen, I think, has come in as left tackle. They've been playing better. Finally, it's all starting to come together. And you mix that with this defense, right? A defense with Jordan Lewis, one of the best nickel backs playing right now. Not that shitty Canadian band, right? Eric Murray coming back this week, forcing a fumble there on Jonathan Taylor. Critical fumble. And finally, Devin Lloyd. Man, that boy's got to get paid a whole lot of dollars in this offseason, and he deserves every one of it. Another interception where he's looking like he's going to blitz, drops back, picks off Daniel Jones pre-Achilles injury on the first defensive snap of the ball game. And so with Anthony Campanilla's system, we've been praising it. We've been criticizing it this year. And finally, they're starting to kind of level out too, right? Josh Hines Allen's been playing out of his mind. He's been playing cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs lately, right? Getting a sack every game and pressures. I mean, just every single snap, right? Finally, we've got Trayvon Walker back in. Eric Armstead eating up the middle. We could use a little bit more interior pass rush, but man, I can't be greedy, right? And on the back end, Jordan Lewis, Eric Murray, you felt their presence. Greg Newsome, who we acquired in that trade for Tyson Campbell, cornerback for cornerback swap. Man, he showed up, got an interception here yesterday against the And so finally, and then, our second level with Devin Lloyd and Aluakun. Oh boy. They're playing like a top 10 defensive unit. So I think in the last 4 games or something, I think the Jaguars have either the third or fourth, most points per game in the NFL. But everyone be sleeping on us right now. They're not talking about the Jaguars. The national media, the Vox Populi, right? All the commentators, they're not talking about the Jaguars today. Maybe they will a little bit. But really, it's going to be like, oh, the Colts. Oh, they were doing so good. And poor Daniel Jones. And, I hope you get well, Daniel Jones. But not, and obviously he's out for the season with the torn Achilles. But it's about them. How did the Colts choke away this? Right? As opposed to, why are the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were 4-13 last year, now 9-4, and why not them? Instead, it's about them or they'll go, there's another team in the AFC South that people aren't talking about, the Houston Texans, who have the number 1 defense and just beat the Chiefs. Yeah, we beat the Chiefs too. Shut up, nerds. Yeah, all right. Yeah, they're a game behind us. Neat. Who's winning? Us. Who beat the Texans? Us. Who blew a 19-point lead to the Texans? Us as well. But remember, we lost that game more than the Texans won that. So, and Cohen, I think after the game said, and I love the attitude about because of that whenever the Jaguars do well, it's always like the disrespect thing. Like, why aren't the people talking about you? Yeah, because it's Jacksonville. Yeah, because it's a team that sucked consistently for the last 2 decades. No wonder they're not talking about us. All right? And Cohen said, yeah, we know that. We know they're not going to respect us. Yeah, it's part of it. Whatever. You lock in. And I think there's ETN said something, Trevor said something. Yeah, they're like, okay, keep sleeping on us. Cool. And I love that. I love that about this coach. I love that about this team. We're winning, and we're finally putting it together. And you see some eggheads going, well, in the AFC, who's good? The Jaguars, we can't trust them. The Jaguars have been playing some pretty trustworthy A to A+ football in the last couple of weeks. But keep sleeping on us. Keep sleeping on us. So let's revisit the season, right? Let's go back from week 1 to present. Week 1, blowout Carolina. Currently has a winning record. Currently is in the NFC playoffs. Week 2, we lose ugly, close loss to the Bengals, where Jake Browning came in and did his Jake Browning thing against us. Week 3, beat the Texans. I already talked about that. Week 4, we win at the 49ers, who everyone is penciling as a top 10 team, right? We beat the Chiefs, Monday Night Football. How could the Jaguars have won that? Trevor fell down. And he got up. Just fluky play, fluky game. Yeah, but who got more points? We did. Are you seeing a theme here where, it must be about the 49ers. It must be about the Chiefs. It must be about, the Jaguars beat the Chargers, but they didn't have their offensive tackle. The Jaguars, they beat the Chargers 35-6, but Justin Herbert is one of the best, right? And then the Colts. Well, Jalen Jones got hurt. They were on the downswing anyways. Whatever. Who cares? Suck it. We're 9-4. We got a 94% chance of making the playoffs, right? And have we had a couple of close ones? Right? Yes. Against the Raiders. Not a great game. Against the Arizona Cardinals in overtime, who is, I think, a very good team. I really think the Cardinals are like the best bad team in the NFL, right? Has it been pretty? No. But is it getting prettier? Ooh, baby, it is. So what do we have next? Right? Jaguars are currently sitting on top of the AFC South. I think Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated completely forgot to mention the Jaguars like they didn't exist, talking about the AFC South, right? And who controls the destiny? Yeah, we do. We control our own destiny when it comes to winning that division, baby. Getting a home game in Duval County. Getting 2 home games in Duval County. Shit, why not 3? Right? Because, like we talked about, the end of the season is a pretty easy schedule. We host the Jets this weekend. Jets have won 3 games. Jaguars take care of business. They go out to Mile High Stadium to play the Broncos. And the Broncos, even though they're currently I think either number 1 or number 2, it's either New England at the moment. The Broncos have played every team close almost all season. I think the Jaguars are a better team than the Broncos. And I think they have a real shot at winning. I can't guarantee they're going to win, but I think they have a real good shot at winning. Then the Jaguars go to Indianapolis to play the Colts, now led by Riley Leonard. Now, shout out to Mr. Leonard, either 5th or 6th round draft pick, quarterback rookie out of Notre Dame. When he came in there, I thought he actually played pretty good there instead for Daniel Jones. I thought he actually played all right. All right. And so the Colts, but man, I'll tell you what, winning that game in Indianapolis after what we just saw them at Jacksonville, I would say the Jaguars should win that game more often than not easily. Right? And then finally home for Tennessee, who are going to go likely be picking back-to-back number 1 draft picks in the NFL. That's it. Jets, Broncos, Colts, Titans. You win all 4, you're 13-4. You go 3-1, you're 12-5. Did any of y'all dream of that at the beginning of the season? Yeah, you maybe dreamed about it, but you didn't predict it. So, why not us? Why not now? Because right now it's Duval versus all y'all. Okay? Just is. We don't need your respect. We don't need your faux criticism. Oh, Trevor had a good game. No, he's playing pretty effing good right now. What we need is we need to lock in. We need to lock in and get the best seed that we can to go into these playoffs. Because the number 1 seed is on the table, guys. Right? There's only one team that gets a bye week, right? To start the playoffs, and that's the number 1 seed. Now, we're playing Denver. And if we went out and Denver loses one other game, besides the one to us, let me give you their schedule. Packers, looking really hot after their win against Chicago. Chiefs, Chargers, and then us. They go 2-2 over that and win the game to, obviously we win the head-to-head. All right. We're the number 2 seed. Patriots. Drake May. Gosh, that team, what a wild season. If they lose 2 of their 4 remaining, we will also top them. Their remaining ones next week, Bills, Ravens, who are going to be very hungry. Jets, we play the Jets as well. And the Dolphins, who've been weirdly frisky at times. I think that it is conceivable that if the Jags win out, we get the 1 seed. Actually, I would call it likely. So take care of business. Keep playing. Keep coaching and scheming it up. Trevor, keep going with those deep balls. Because that's the thing, is that finally the offense has been unlocked. And you saw that with Indianapolis with the down, big playability, right? He hasn't really attempted much because he didn't have that confidence, right? And now, finally, with BTJ hopefully woken up from his dropsy slumber, right? Brenton Strange, Jacoby Myers, keep working the middle. You know, it was funny. This is the first game I've been to this year, was yesterday. And Jacoby had a bad drop, right? And Jacoby doesn't drop balls, but he dropped. And it was really funny because everyone, around where I was going, we're just looking at each other. It's like, all right, Jacoby, That's fine. You get one free drop. You can start dropping more. I get worried. But no. You have played so well. You have been such a boon for this team that you get a free drop. That's fine. Like nobody cared. And that's how good he has been for this offense. And that's how good Trevor's been playing. He's been using his legs more too. You saw, he's gutting out these runs to convert and move the sticks. So offense, I think it's all come together. Defense, I think it's been together, but finally we're able to on the back end get healthier. It's been another thing, right? Jaguars are getting healthy at the right time. Jordan Lewis comes back. Eric Murray comes back. Trayvon Walker comes back on the defensive side. Offensive Britton Strange, right? Coming back. BTJ coming back. And shoot, Parker Washington missed this last game. Probably one of our most dynamic offensive players. He'll be back here soon. All without two-way phenom, Travis Hunter, who was looking real good before he had that season-ending LCL surgery. Why not us? Why not now? Why not Super Bowl? Why not 1 seed? I don't see any other teams more deserving. Because the story of the season makes sense, right? New coach, new scheme, quarterback who's never had a West Coast offense, takes time, has talent out the wazoo, and learns the playbook, learns the scheme. Players get brought in, traded for. As a unit, right, the offensive line comes together. And we start beating that ass, right? We start whooping up on Tennessee and whooping up on Indy. So 9-4, 94%, right? Damn, it feels good to be a Jacksonville Jaguar fan. And all these Trevor, obviously it's a great day for us Trevor truthers, right? Trevor believers. But let me leave you with one thing, right? Jaguars have 9 wins now. Let me think about this. I think since 2000, we've had what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 winning records, winning seasons, right? We've had 6 since the dawn of the millennium. Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback for 3 of those, half of those. What? He wins, man. And he is playing great at the right time. So, this weekend, take care of business against the Jets. Next weekend, see if you can steal one at Mile High. And then the closing push with 2 more divisional games. Ladies and gentlemen, why not us? Why not now? Because you know and I know it's Duval versus all y'all. All right? We'll be back just a minute for the Claws of History. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the unofficial Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Once again, we'd like to thank Christopher Campione and Campione Law, my employer, for helping me put on this show for you guys here, right? When bad things happen to good people, car accident, slip and falls. Again, you're hurt and you didn't ask for it. Give us a shout. We'd be happy to help. Ladies and gentlemen, for our ninth installment for the Claws of History, where we look back at the past and see what the Jaguars need to think about as they go into the future. On this week's segment of the Claws of History, December 1944, the Battle of the Bulge. There's a moment in every season, in every war, really, where the hardest part isn't advancing. It's not taking ground. It's not proving that you belong. The hardest part is holding what you've earned, so far. The Jaguars have a 94% chance to make the playoffs, and we got to hold on to it, right? In the winter of 1944, the Allied forces have already pushed the German forces in the Third Reich to the brink. The war wasn't over, but the path to victory was clear. It was almost inevitable. The Allies had the numbers, the momentum, the logistics, the position. They've done the work. They had to fight uphill and bleed, through every mile. But victory was in front of them. Playoffs are in front of the Jaguars. And so, but then came December, like we're in right now. And the Third Reich did a surprise counteroffensive, massive, desperate, violent, which tore into the Allied line in the Ardennes forest. Tanks burst through the fog and the snow, artillery hammered from angles that no one saw coming. And this was a make-or-break moment for the Allies, right? That moment was not about heroism. It wasn't about conquest. It was about stability, discipline, and refusing to fracture when the pressure spiked. And this is where the Jacksonville Jaguars of 2025 are this December. At 9-4, we have earned the high ground. We have fought through adversity. We've had overtime wins. And now we have the playoff probability that it is almost certain that we are going to go. But we ain't there yet. We control our fate, as they like to say, to win the AFC South. But here comes December. Cold, unclear, slippery. We got 4 games. Jets, Broncos, Colts, Titans. Each dangerous in their own way. This is the modern day Ardennes, right? Where a stretch where the terrain is deceptive, right? Where you have trap games. Where you're high on your own supply and think you're all great and mighty. It's where the opponent's strength isn't the opponent, it's the moment, right? Can the Jaguars do what needs to be done and take care of business? And every team in this league is waiting for you to break, waiting for you to make a mistake so they can pounce and deliver you a loss that you weren't expecting. At this time, when the Germans did the counteroffensive, Battle of the Bulge, General Dwight Eisenhower didn't call for a retreat. He didn't panic. He didn't scream or posture. He didn't redesign the entire war plan out of fear. Instead, he actually did something I would say is more difficult. He held the center. He trusted the structure he'd already built. He trusted the discipline of the men on the warfield, right? And he believed that what they earned wasn't fragile, but it could become fragile if they panicked. That's what Liam Cohen's task is, right? It's not to overhaul the Jaguars. It's not to reinvent them in December. It's to hold the center, to steady the operation, to keep the team aligned and prevent a moment of collapse, right? Because we've seen what they can do. And this is the truth that history teaches us. The Allies didn't win the Battle of the Bulge by overwhelming the enemy. They won because they refused to let the enemy overwhelm the moment. The Jaguars sit in the same balance point now. They don't need miracles. They don't need theatrics. They don't need an identity change. They simply need to not break. They need to handle business against the Jets. They need to stand tall at mile high in Denver's altitude. They need to walk into Indianapolis knowing that the Colts' season is in chaos. And they need to finish the Titans without hesitation. Because right now, we're in if we hold. And how far we can go is riding on these last games because the 1 seed is a possibility. The 2 seed is a possibility if the teams in front of them stumble. So, December comes and asks the same question to the Jaguars that the Ardennes and the counteroffensive asked the Allied forces. Can you hold? Because if the Jaguars can, they stay disciplined, stay poised, stay cold-blooded in the coldest month, then the road ahead doesn't just lead to the postseason, but it sets them up for glory. We fought, and this team has fought uphill long enough. Now, and we made it. We did it. But now we must fight in place. We got to hold. This is December, and this is where the Jacksonville Jaguars decide what they're made of. Ladies and gentlemen, that does it for this episode of the Unofficial Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Remember, buy uninsured motorist coverage. There's a lot of drivers out there driving on bad insurance. And bad drivers on bad insurance can cause bad accidents that happen to you. So what's going to be there to protect you if you get in an accident and hit by one of these guys with bad insurance, right? Buy That's it for me, Seth Studer. See you here in 2 weeks, and go Jags.